What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Tastes Like Music. Jason and Joe here reviewing the new record from Pearl Jam. It is their 12th studio album. It is called Dark Matter. It just came out on Friday. And what do you think of it?
Is that all you got? Is that all the setup we get here?
Yeah, we're both big Pearl Jam fans. We ranked all of their albums. How do you think this one stacks up?
Well, I don't know. I'm struggling with this one a little bit. I don't know if it's the production. I'm trying to think of a good word for Andrew Watt to I mean, I don't have like a distaste for his production, but he just seems like he brings out the most boring, like most dad rock tendencies of these artists. Like if you're gonna like squish an artist down to like their very most boring, safest core, like you call Andrew Watt, because he's gonna do it for you. We saw that with the Rolling Stones and how boring most of that album was. And for me, this one just doesn't quite live up to, I don't know, any of their other albums. It's probably better than Backspacer and Riot Act, but that might be it for me. I think it's a good sounding album. I think it really shows off Eddie Vedder. I don't think it shows off anyone else because all I remember about this album is Eddie Vedder and songs that sound, tailor-made for Eddie Vedder's perspective. And you have something like Something Special, which is kind of new for Pearl Jam. And it's very like bright and happy, which is weird hearing them do something like that. They have some rowdy stuff, I guess. Dark Matter reminds me a little bit of like Vitology or Yield, where they get a little more rambunctious. But I don't know, it feels like that's like type of attitude, but the music is kind of drier and more adult. It's definitely like Yield and on. Like there's nothing 10 or versus about this album. Wreckage sounds like Learning to Fly by Tom Petty, which is appropriate because they're kind of leaning into that dad core stuff. And didn't really notice the bass at all. The guitars, I don't remember any solos. Like there was a couple, but very rote Pearl Jam type stuff. Drumming seemed fine, but I didn't really think about it at all. Standard Matt Cameron stuff. Something special reminds me of like Hootie and the Blowfish, actually. Like very, like those backing vocals are very like adult 90s FM radio type vibes. And I don't know, just it seemed very safe, very like in their wheelhouse. Like, there's nothing surprising like on Gigaton with Dance at Clairvoyance, which kind of had like that Talking Heads groove, or Super Blood Wolf Moon. Nothing like epic. So I don't know. It seems very friendly, made for like barbecues and tailgates and you know 40s and 50-year-old male Pearl Jam fans. I guess like myself, maybe a little older than me even.
Wow. Uh, yeah, I disagree pretty heavily, I think. I think I get kind of some of your points. Like you said, produced by Andrew Watt, who I don't think is a very good producer, but he keeps producing records that I kind of like, like the Rolling Stones record, which I thought was pretty decent, and the Iggy Pop one, I only gave 3 stars, but it was way better than I expected it to be. This one was recorded at Rick Rubin's Shangri-La studios, so people know how I feel about Rick Rubin. Yeah, I don't know. I keep changing my mind on Andrew Watt. It's it's weird, and the sound of this record sounds great sometimes, like cranked up on my monitors, but like in the car it sounded kind of crappy. So I don't know. I think it's overcompressed in spots. It sounds a little fake sometimes, a little too modern. But having said that, I think he pulled some great material out of them. I think this is the most energized they've sounded as a band, and the most energized they've sounded as players in a long time. I think Eddie Vedder's melodies are really strong here. I think the songs are pretty memorable and catchy. Yeah, I just think they sound, vital and energized and just going for it. And I don't know. I think I'm kind of impressed by their ability to fight against the like long, slow decline most bands go through. I thought Lightning Bolt, that's my least favorite Pearl Jam record. I think that record kind of sucks and is super boring, and there's nothing on it that I remember really, even having owned it and listened to it, a handful of times. But they kind of have clawed their way back with this. I think the last record, Gigaton, was interesting. And when I listened to that, I was like, well, at least they're like trying some different things and they're not, just making Lightning Bolt over and over again until they die. So I respected it. I thought it was interesting and definitely better than Lightning Bolt. But as interesting as I thought it was, I only listened to it maybe 3 or 4 times, and one of those was because we were covering them on the channel. This one I've already listened to 2.5 times, and I could see myself listening to it more. Um, I do think the songs are great. Eddie sounds great. Matt Cameron, I think he's just like going off here in a way that he hasn't since probably Binaural, maybe. I don't know. Well, maybe the self-titled. I'll say that. And I think the guitar interplay is great between Mike and Stone. And I thought there were some great solos. I really liked the tone and the vibe of the one on Upper Hand. I thought that was a great one. There's a couple other just like blazing fast ones, which are pretty cool. I would say that this is probably their best since the self-titled record in 2006. I think it's a similar record to Backspacer, I think. I think if you like Backspacer, you'll like this, and if you don't like Backspacer, you probably won't like this, but I think this one, the rock stuff on this hits a little harder. I think there's a bit more energy here, and the ballads here aren't quite as sappy as they are on Backspacer. So I'll give this the edge over Backspacer. Definitely give it the edge over Lightning Bolt, and give it the edge over Gigaton too. So I'm at a high 4, and I could maybe get to 4.5 on it potentially.
Ah,
Probably the only thing really holding it back from 4.5 for me is the sound of it a little bit.
I'm probably only at 3.5. I was at 4 for Gigaton, but I mean, even for Gigaton, I wasn't close to 4.5 stars, and I haven't been close to 4.5 stars for anything from Pearl Jam since maybe the self-titled was close to 4.5, if not 4.5. But you really have to go back a long ass way to Vitology for a 4.5. I think they're just one of the most consistent, just like even keeled bands around. I don't dislike anything they've ever done except Riot Act. But I don't know. I'm a early 90s kind of purist with Pearl Jam. Nothing will ever touch those, and everything else just kind of seems a little safe maybe, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a little hard on this one. I don't know. I was listening to Vitology for the 94 deep dive, and then I went back and listened to 10, and I was like, these are the good old days. So maybe I was just, in my Pearl Jam feelings a little too much listening to this one.
I was happy that I didn't really detect any auto tune or pitch correction on Eddie Vedder. Really, did you?
No, I mean, he sounds great. It, I don't know. I kept thinking it was like an Eddie Vedder solo album almost in some ways, but maybe I'm just misreading it.
Well, Andrew Watt did the last Eddie Vedder solo record, and that's kind of why he got pulled into this. So
Well, maybe playing a little favoritism in the studio then.
yeah, but I mean, I thought the guitars there was some cool guitar stuff on there. Maybe give it.
I'll give it a listen.
All right, let us know what you think of the new Pearl Jam record. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one.